Hi, my name is Shayle McNally, and I'm one of the Fall 2017 Science Communication interns here at ASLO. With the Science Exchange series, we want to explore the science, stories, and experiences of our members, while also highlighting their core values as scientists. This week on Science Exchange, we talk with ASLO member Shayle Matsuda on what shapes his scientific identity, the importance of diversity in science, and the intersection of technology and biology as it relates to the study of global coral reef systems.
So my name is Shayle Matsuda. I'm a second-year PhD student at the Hawaii Institute of Marine Biology and University of Hawaii at Manoa.
How would you describe yourself as a scientist to our viewers?
I consider myself a marine biologist. That's what I'm studying towards and working towards. I have a background in phylogenetics and systematics. I'm really interested in biodiversity. I would say I do identify as a climate change scientist as well. And that, as I'm sure a lot of people is now something to think about when you're talking about your identities, especially how it fits into what it is to be a scientist.
As a marine biologist, what do you primarily study?
I study coral reefs, and I'm really interested in the coral animals themselves. And what I'm really curious about is the partnership, the relationship between the coral animal and the algal cells, like the plant-type cells that live inside the coral's tissues that help them survive. So a lot of folks have probably heard of coral bleaching. That's when that partnership gets disrupted. The algae leave, and the corals appear white. And my question surrounds how do these algae cells help the coral survive or not, these stress events? So there are different types or species of algae, and I'm interested in this particular species of coral that associates with different types of algae. And do different types of algae help the coral survive or not? And where on the coral colony as a whole are these algae? So ones that associate with multiple groups, I'm like, if they're located at the top of the coral, that gets a lot of sunlight, that might tell us a different story than different types that might like, more shaded environments. So that's what I'm looking at.
As a second-year PhD student, what are you most excited about as you develop your research questions?
Something that I'm really excited about in biology is the intersection of biology and technology. So part of this project, I'm using 3D imaging to 3D image these corals and DNA sequencing to figure out the identities of these algal partners, the symbionts that live inside of the coral. And so it's kind of what we can learn from this intersection of not just having lists and lists of data sequences, but actually being able to visualize in a different way kind of how these spatial arrangements are of this partnership. And so I'm really hoping that might add another layer of complexity to the story of this symbiosis.
How would you describe the pivotal role that corals play to the world's coastal ecosystems?
What a lot of us do in the lab and as marine biologists is we're really interested in what is the future like for our planet, what is the future like for our marine ecosystems, for the coral reefs in general. And coral reefs impact everybody, not just folks who live, who study and live on the reef environment, but they affect us all in terms of, the coastal environment. Do you like to fish? Do you like to eat fish? Do you like to go snorkeling when you're on vacation and see different sorts of animals? Do you enjoy surfing or any kind of water sports, or even just hanging out on the beach? Coral reef health affects us all, from economics and tourism to recreation to coastal protections. And so the kind of big picture is that this resource gives us so much. And I find that most often when you start really talking about these things, like what people do in their everyday life, things that are important to them, their family, their home, their jobs, people really kind of start to understand how the coral reefs and the reef ecosystems really impact their everyday lives. And so it's really just not just understanding what's going to happen, but thinking about how we can be more proactive in helping these systems survive into the future.